Okay, hello YouTube. I want to actually bring you something pretty cool that I've bought. Well, it's a kind of just say it's a kind of like snack, but it's not actually a snack. It sounds like a snack, but it isn't. Like when you look at the spelling of the name, uh, it's actually not a food, but it sounds like a food item. Uh, and uh. and this actually it's actually like it's a very small snack. uh let's just say it's not actually a snack, but it sounds like a snack. Okay, I have to say it's actually a kind of a pie, and using a kind of berry, and something to do with Broadcom apparently. Okay, enough of those teasers. And it's actually a very small kind of computer, and it was original, as far as I know, it was originally intended for people to learn Python and Scratch, but then many people have found other uses for it. And uh, to spill the beans here, I believe Element 14 is actually the main distributor for this, and if you want to get one of these, I'll give you the Element 14 order codes, so you can go to their homepage and key in the order code straight away. Because if you try to click on Raspberry Pi Model B, it'll take you to their special kind of landing page. And I'm really sorry if the camera footage is laggy here. Really sorry, but since the frame rate is dropping, I think I will after this I will switch over to my iPhone here. Okay, so I've already got the thing set up for the Pi. Here's a spare USB mouse, and I'm also gonna use the keyboard from this computer here. I won't use the Circ touchpad because it's a PS2 touchpad. It's hooked up. Anyways, I got some stuff here. I got a composite cable here. It's actually running to the tuner card in the A1270D. It's a Philips card I recently obtained. Because I had problems with this Hauppauge BT848 capture card, and turns out the reason why it was putting out a garbled image is that because the crystal has kind of corroded, but done very little damage to the board. So I actually did order a few crystals that are like this crystal here, 28.63 repeating numbers. Although this crystal is actually much smaller size than this one here, so I don't know how it will fit in on the board. But I did order a crystal for it in this Element 14 shipment, along with the Pi and other stuff I need, because I'm actually again, as I said, I am doing case mod with this. So okay, here's the packing slip. At the top here, it actually mentions, if you look here, there is a Raspberry Pi inside this box. And if you look on the shipping label, there is an there's an electrostatic symbol there. So the Raspberry Pi must be inside. Yes, the SD card is inside, and okay, there's the SD card. This is the SD. Excuse me. Here's the crystal for the BT 848 card. I've also ordered some switches again for the case mod. There's also some red and green LEDs, 20 each, that I also ordered for the case mod. I'll only use one or two of those LEDs and keep the rest in my other Element 14 box, which I use as a parts bin. This is why I think it's good to recycle. Sorry, but I forgot to mention this. I actually got new unboxing scissors, because my other blue ones that I've always been using Sadly, the part where you put the fingers in is like this. It actually broke off, so I can't really use it. I mean, I can still use it, but I prefer to use the new scissors. So anyways, I cut the tape on the side. But I haven't actually opened up the inside. I don't think I'll be able to do this one-handed. Okay, I've forgotten why I actually didn't hook up the lining to the Pi instead my headphones, because I'm gonna actually talk over the boot up process. This is my iPod there. So what I'll do is have the Pi hooked up to the capture card here, and I have the video capture software full screened, so it'll act like as though I have it connected to this monitor, but it's actually running to the capture card, and then from there into the video card, and then coming out the monitor. So it's a little laggy, but well, that's for, and it would be and I know that the output will be pixely, so I'll have to repair the BT card, which has a higher resolution output, by the way. So yeah, are you ready? Not yet. Okay, now are you ready to see what's inside this box? Well, I know what's inside this box, but I haven't well, okay, because actually I've seen videos of the Raspberry Pi on YouTube, but to tell you the truth, I've never seen the Pi in person before. So this is gonna be a first for me, even though I've seen the videos on YouTube. But how many times do I have to tell myself that I've already said this, but I never seen it in person before. So are we ready? 3, 2, 1. Are you ready? Get set. 3, 2, 1. Oh yeah, we can see all the electronic components in the bags that they usually put it in. And of course, I'll know the Pi will come in a box, because they can't put it in a plastic bag like all the other electronic components. So I'll pull away these kind of packaging feelers, and there's actually very less feelers here. Okay, these are the 3mm green LEDs that I've ordered. Next, we have an anti-static bag. Here it says that electrostatic. So, okay, but these are the red ones. Okay, here's another bag. This is the Raspberry Pi Model B. So, yep, this is the Raspberry Pi itself. It's cool that they actually put in a plastic bag like all the other electronic components. These are the switches I ordered. I didn't know they would be this big. They actually 2 times the size of these regular size switches, and these are the single position ones that I've ordered. These switches are made by Electric switches, I believe, and I haven't actually used them, but they seem to make some good switches. This is the single position one. Here's a larger bag here with 2 of these 2.1mm DC plug extenders. I'm actually going to make like a custom power harness for my case mod using these. I'll modify them. Last, we are left with these wires here. These are actually the wires here, so I can solder to them. I never knew they would be this thin, but here are the wires. And there's the black wires, which are shrink wrapped in, strangely enough. So I'll put the rest of them back, and I'll have a look at the rest of the stuff myself. Okay, I did not notice this, but turns out that there's actually 3 items on the list here that aren't actually in the package, but they'll be dispatched in the next box. So I'm really sorry, but I won't be able to power up the Pi. And also because the Raspberry Pi software images actually require a larger memory card, so I won't be able to do it. Okay, so I was actually right. This actually downloaded the Raspberry Pi quick start guide online. If you can see here, it actually says minimum size 4GB class 4 SD card. I actually have a SanDisk 80GB card in here. I believe this is actually a class 6 that I have inside my Surface Pro. So right now I'm actually downloading their so-called new out-of-box software, which although it would be more useful on the Model B, which has the Ethernet jack and it's the one that I ordered. Anyways, from there I believe they can actually set up kind of the video output. Right now I'm downloading. If I pull up 7-zip here, I'm actually right now backing up my SD card, and I do actually download videos from YouTube. And also if you scroll down here, it actually mentions that you specifically use the SD card association formatting tool, as it would do a better job of formatting, unlike in Windows, the Windows built-in tool or disk utility in Mac. So I've downloaded the SD formatter and the software here. So I believe the way you do this is you put this software into your SD card after you format it using the recommended tool. After you put it up on the Pi itself, and if you see a blank screen, there's actually you can use a keyboard, USB keyboard, to select the video modes. There's HDMI, which is default. There's HDMI safe mode, in case your monitor can't recognize a HDMI signal. Composite pile mode and composite NTSC mode. And this case mod that I'm doing, it actually involves an LCD monitor that's built in, and I believe NTSC actually has more lines on the screen than PAL mode. Here where I live, we actually use believe PAL BG. So actually right now I'm still downloading it. I don't have a BitTorrent client on my Surface Pro here, but I do have a torrent client on my iMac, but I'm too lazy to use that now. So, and then I have this micro SD card adapter here, and make sure it's not in the locked position. Luckily I haven't opened any of the components that I have received. So anyways, I believe I actually received the package yesterday, the Element 14 box, but I actually held off on opening it until my until my LCD screen kit arrived. But that will take a long time, and I felt like I was in the mood to do a video about the Pi. So what I decided to do is try and use this instead. I was actually pretty lucky because because even though the Element 14 website actually says that everything in the list has shipped, there's actually 3 items on the list that will be shipping from overseas warehouses. So at least I have most of the items, but I don't have the SD card I need to run the Pi. So I actually did order the SD card, but it hasn't arrived. At the time of placing the order, I actually saw the inventory list, and there was actually an SD card. There was only one of them in the warehouse here, in the Singapore warehouse, and so I'm actually I decided I will just borrow the 8GB from SD card from my Surface Pro, just to put up and check out the software. And I believe this will install the latest version of Raspbian, or any other distribution of the user's choice. I'm actually gonna pick Raspbian. because I heard that the Fedora version actually has some bugs, and I'm like with when it comes to Linux distributions, I'm actually most familiar with Ubuntu. I actually have Kubuntu, which is the same thing but uses KDE instead of Unity. I have installed my LTE 300 over there, and the Raspbian actually uses some LXDE, lightweight X desktop environment, which is actually really good. Keeps the cost down, so you can use a smaller SD card, like the 4GB they recommend, to kind of keep the cost down. Yeah. So I'm actually downloading it right now, and once it's downloaded, and I'll wait for my 7-zip to finish. So yeah, I'll be right back, and I hope I can be able to format the SD card. Okay, I formatted the SD card. It actually shows the icon there of what kind of SD card you have inserted. In this case, the it's SDHC. No, actually, it's a micro SD. But technically, it is still an SD card. If I can pull out the safely remove menu, pull out the card. I'll hold up this micro SD card. Sorry about that, I accidentally hit the stop recording. This is actually a class 2 SD card, which is pretty unfortunate, but I want to see if I can use class 2 SD cards, but that will be rather slow. But it's all I have, so I don't know whether I should use it or not. Okay, I'm actually extracting the files to the SD card. I was told in the instructions that it would. So anyways, it turns out that the operating system images are actually compressed and stored on the image itself. And I actually thought that it would actually kind of go online and download the images, but it doesn't look like so. It's actually extracting all the different versions of Linux that are available for this in one image. So I believe the XZ format, the XZ format, is like a super compressed kind of file type. I also found a spare USB power adapter here that will use to power the Pi. This is a 1 amp power supply, and the online quick start guide actually recommends that you use at least a minimum of 700 milliamps at 5 volts. So anyways, so yeah, they even tell you the differences between the connectors. So that's what HDMI looks like. That's what HDMI to DVI looks like, and that's what composite look like. So they actually tell you what the leads look like for the newbies who aren't familiar with like the video standards and stuff, I guess. So I'll just let this extract, and I will stick it in the Pi. Okay, I got ready the SD 8GB not the right speed SD card. So I'll just open up the box here. Just put the so here's the actual Raspberry Pi itself. I'll put that aside. Right. I will kind of make sure that I have all the cables that I need. I haven't actually turned on the power, but I got all the leads here. So here's the bag here for the Pi, and I'll pull this open. Okay, the seal has been broken. Let's get out the actual box for the Pi. Okay, so here's the box for the Raspberry Pi itself. Element 14. So this is the Raspberry Pi, and so I'm gonna open up the box here. Okay, the box is open. Let's see what the Raspberry Pi looks like. So you get the Raspberry Pi itself. It's actually bigger than I thought, but that's just because of the connectors. So that's what it looks like. That's the GPIO pins. In my case mod, I won't power it through the micro USB port. I'll power it through the GPIO pins to kind of save space in the case that I'll be using. We got regulatory information, and again, I don't have okay. Open up the bag here, and so here's the Raspberry Pi in all its glory. I can't remember. I think this connector is for the camera, which I don't have. That's actually the LCD connector. I don't have a compatible LCD for this. That's the main processor right there, and that's the, I believe that's the Ethernet chip there. And there's actually an artifact for a connector. Okay, here's the actual power LEDs here. I believe ACT means that the power supply is okay. The second one from the top means it's switched on. And then the 3A LEDs are for the Ethernet. It's only a 10100 Ethernet because this is actually running through a USB bus. So I'll just hook it up right now, and I'll switch to the capture card here. Okay, so I got the Pi hooked up here, and I believe okay, so I got everything connected. There's no power, but just showing you that everything is connected here. Actually, I haven't looked underneath the board. Okay, so I'll be able to desolder the composite jack, because in my case mod I'm thinking of since I don't have a I didn't get, the shop actually sold out of the composite video port, so I was thinking I would take the composite port from here and then replace it with a direct wire connection in the actual case mod. So yeah, I'll switch over to the capture card here, and I'll be right back. Okay, testing. Is this thing on? Okay, so just making sure that the capture card is running here, and it looks like it is. So I'm gonna power up the Pi. 3, 2, 1. Okay, the Raspberry Pi now has the power LED switch, and I'm not getting any video output here. So right now there's a blank screen, but the Raspberry Pi is switched on and it is connecting to the internet now. I just got an eBay notification on my iPhone. So I'll just wait a few more seconds here, and I'll just wait right now, because this is only a class 2 SD card, but they recommend a class 4. But sadly, I don't have the SD card I ordered for it, so I'm stuck with this class 2 SD card, which would be slow. But I can already see the Ethernet indicator blinking, and the indicators on the on my network switch are blinking as well. The Raspberry Pi is hooked up to port 1 on the network switch here, and it seems like I should be able to kind of switch the output here. So I'm gonna press number 3 on the keyboard. 3, 2, 1. Press the number 3. Okay, we have an image, but it's very pixely. So, oh wait, that's not the mouse. Okay, I'm moving the mouse now on the Raspberry Pi. I can't really see how it is. Okay, we got a language selection here. Again, this is very pixelated. So right now everything is pixely. I'm trying to actually decipher the menu here. So okay, I need to move the Raspberry Pi mouse. So I have two separate mice. The Circ touchpad is hooked up to the KHP Pavilion, and I have this ProLink. It's a USB mouse hooked up to the Pi here, so I'll just yeah, it says something about the new out-of-box system. I think that's what it's called. Here we have install OS, edit config.txt, opens the config text, something I can't read. This is online help, which goes to the Raspberry Pi website, and then there's an exit button, which exits and boots the selected operating system. So here are the operating system choices. I have Arch Linux, which is basically a bare bones Linux distribution that just has the kernel, and then you have to install everything else. Of course, and also available for PC. This OpenELEC, which is an Raspbmc distribution, also available for PC, I believe. So I need to wait for the capture card to resync, but here I believe this is PiDora, which is Raspberry Pi part of Fedora, which is available for PC. This is RISC-OS. I believe this was originally something made for Acorn computers, but later I think it became open source, and yeah. Here is Raspbmc, which is unlike OpenELEC. It's actually based on Raspbian, and it's another Raspbmc distribution. And this one that's been pre-selected is Raspbian, which is of course based on Debian. So that's the pre-selected one, and the language is English, which is correct. I'm gonna click here and install OS. Confirm. Warning, this will this will install the selected operating system. Something on the SD card will be overwritten. Yes. Welcome to your Raspberry Pi. We are currently setting up your SD cards, but don't worry, you'll be able to start programming very soon. And then the progress bar below. So again, as I said, the Raspberry Pi is originally designed for programming, but has found many other users. And Raspbian is a free operating system based on Linux and optimized for the Raspberry Pi. An operating system is the set of basic programs and utilities that make your Raspberry Pi one. An example of a PC operating system, for those of you who are new to the computing scene, would be Windows. And that's like the most popular PC operating system because it's like preloaded on almost all PCs sold today. When Raspbian puts up, you'll need to log in to the system. The default username for Raspbian is Pi with the default password Raspberry. You will need to remember this information. The thing here, first time you boot up, you have to open raspi-config, and you can kind of set up the things here. For me, I'm actually gonna use command line interface because I'm planning to create a sh kind of patch file. Okay, a GUI has icons and windows much like Microsoft Windows or Mac OS X. A command line interface allows you to type commands into your Pi directly. If you want to start the GUI from the command line, you can type startx, which basically starts up X11 to the preferred desktop environment. And okay, there are many great programs already pre-installed on Raspbian, just waiting for you to boot up and play. If you are new to programming, we recommend starting with a program called Scratch. This can be launched by clicking on the Scratch icon on the desktop. It actually shows the Scratch logo there. So right now it's still, you can also download additional programs or even sell your own content on the Pi store at store.raspberrypi.com, and that's the Raspberry Pi logo. So again, all this stuff is pixely, and I can actually see the network indicators actually blinking. So it's actually going back to the same loop of pictures. So anyways, as I was saying, I can't remember, but anyways, I was thinking of making an sh script so that I can actually type in x init or x initialize, and we'll boot up straight into DOSBox without going into LXDE first. And otherwise I can type start X to boot up into LXDE, but since this will be only temporary, I'm actually going to just let it boot up directly into LXDE. But later, once I get the actual SD card that's apparently out of stock, then I will go through this thing again, but set it to boot through the command line, so I can run the SH script I was talking to you about earlier. But it seems that I thought the first light was okay. I thought the first light on the Raspberry Pi board that's closest to the earphone jack was like something to tell that the power supply is okay, but it does not seem so. The first light actually says ACT. I'm not sure what ACT means, but again, I'm just letting the interface install here, and I won't pause the video, but I can still move the mouse here. So yeah, I'm gonna let this go through, and I can see that the networking is enabled on my Raspberry Pi. I can see the network indicators there, and yeah. So I'm not sure. I might also want to have maybe a little bit of fun with the GPIO, and I believe the Python library for the GPIO connector is not installed by default. But I think there's a guide online on how to use the GPIO. Although in my final case mod project, I won't actually use the GPIO. I'll just use the pin 1 and 3 for the power input, so that I don't need to connect the micro USB cable. So yeah, I believe there's also a pinout of the Raspberry Pi GPIO online. So yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna let this run. It's taking slower than normal. It's 2.5 megabytes per second. Again, this is a class 2 SD card. So okay, I think it says there. Let me move the mouse here. It says writing image to SD card. I think that says 53% there, and it's went down to 1.5 megabytes per second. So so yeah, and apparently it looks like it's the total size for Raspbian will be 13 megabytes, so that's a little over 1 gigabyte. So I know that the 4 gigabyte SD card will be plenty of storage for the Pi. So yeah, I hope it's actually recording. Let me open the yep, it is recording. So I'll just let this load up here. And also another thing I want to do in my case mod is to kind of pot out a couple of the LEDs from the Pi itself. Enjoy the pixely looking graphics, and I'm really sorry because I don't have the crystal to repair my higher resolution BT capture card. So I'm really sorry about that. Okay, you can see the mouse cursor is actually moving by itself. I'm not actually moving the mouse, but this is actually a problem I've been having with the ProLink mouse, where sometimes you will drift off, but otherwise it's actually very nice and comfortable mouse. The reason why I chose it, actually they had when it was still available, they actually had many other colors including white and black, but I chose green because it was my favorite, because it's my favorite color. So okay, I think it says 81% now. Also, another thing I thought is that little pictures here they show while installing the software. I think there will be a different set of pictures for the different distributions, but in this case I'm just installing Raspbian. Since I've seen most Raspberry Pi tutorials on YouTube, they all use Raspbian, so so I started to prefer that instead. So yeah, okay, I think it says 100%, and it says something applied successfully. Okay, now it's rebooting here, and okay, we have the Debian startup here, and says everything's okay. Waiting for /devices to be fully populated. Selling premium, activating the swap space. Yeah, most Linux distributions use a swap space as far as you know. Compatibility systems, it says warning or something. Temporary files, kernel variables, temporary files again, and ALSA is the thing. So I'm setting up something about X, NTP server, and okay, we got a IP address here, so I can't actually install PuTTY and set that up, but okay, the keyboard is working. Setup options. See, they actually on the top, in the title it says Raspberry Pi software configuration tool and the name of the command that runs it. So we got expand file system, change user password, enable boot to desktop, internationalization options, enable camera. I don't have the camera, so I won't set that up. Oh, add to fast track, I think it is. You can actually add this Pi to the onboard, on the online Raspberry Pi database. So I didn't know they actually had a database that keeps track of almost all of the Raspberry Pi boards that are in use. But I won't set that up. Overclocking, but I'm not that much of a geek. I don't overclock any of my PCs. I won't do this here. Advanced options and about screen. This tool provides a straightforward way of doing initial configuration of the Raspberry Pi. Although it can be run at any time, some of the options may have difficulties if you have heavily customized your installation. So it's good that they actually bring up this configuration kind of a thing here. And to select the buttons at the bottom, I have to press tab on the keyboard. So should I I'm gonna expand file system. Your partition layout is not currently supported by this tool. You are probably using a new out-of-box system, in which case your root file system is already expanded anyway. Oh, that's pretty cool to know. Change user password. I'm actually just testing this with my SD card. Once I get actual SD card, I will change the password. I want to enable boot to desktop. Should we boot straight to desktop? I think not yet. Internationalization options, change locale. I want to change it to Singapore. And we can just get a blank cursor. Will we see anything? Okay. Locales are a framework to switch between multiple languages and allow users to use their language, country characters, others, etc. I believe you press space to select. Okay. Default locale for the system environment. Oh, I didn't notice it actually said package configuration on the background there. Generating locales, this might take a while. So right now it's actually setting up the locales. It is actually it's still connected to the internet. So far this is actually pretty good that I get to play with the 45 Singapore dollars for a credit card size computer. It's actually pretty cool actually, and I get to play with such a thing now. And it's actually pretty cool that the latest version of Raspbian, not only does it add the Pi Store, but it adds this pretty cool configuration utility here. I don't want to enable camera. Oh, okay, it's actually called RasTrack, not Fast Track. So it's pretty cool that they actually have an online database again, as I said. Advanced options, overscan, hostname, memory split, SSH, and updates. I'm gonna set up SSH Would you like it enabled? I want to enable it. SSH server enabled. So I think I'll enable boot to desktop. Should we boot straight to desktop? Yes. And now we are done configuring, so I'm gonna enter finish. Would you like to reboot now? Yes. Okay, so it's gonna restart now. The system is going down for reboot. So right now it's actually doing a shutdown process, and now it's gonna restart. I don't see the color pattern that it has when it starts up for the first time, but right now there's no image. Oh, okay, it's doing something. Okay, it's on. Now I've seen some videos of the Raspberry Pi. Other people also have Model Bs, and yeah, somehow it actually, when it boots up, it has like a kind of color pattern before it actually shows this command line startup process here. But what I'm going to do is I'm gonna exit full screen on the capture card here. I'm actually gonna download PiView and Xming. So I'll actually run the Raspberry Pi desktop on my host here. Okay, so it's starting up LXDE, and there's the taskbar. Okay, go back to full screen. So again, it's actually pretty small, but okay, I can actually see here we have IDLE tree and IDLE. These are for Python, and then Python games. That's pretty cool. I never knew Python that can actually do graphics like that. There's LX terminal for the command line. There's the and then there's Wi-Fi config. I don't have the Wi-Fi card for Wi-Fi dongle for this. Midori, which is actually a web browser. There's Scratch, which is pretty cool programming software. We have two desktops. Here's a Pi store, which I won't go in depth yet. But I'm actually gonna browse the Raspberry Pi OS through Xming and PiView SSH. So I'm gonna log out, and oops, I'll just log out here. I don't think the shutdown actually works, but okay, it actually does have a kind of desktop manager. Here you would enter Pi and Raspberry to log on, but I'm not gonna do such a thing yet. Oh wait, I'm gonna actually toggle full screen here and get out of here. I'm gonna stop recording, and I'll download PiView and Xming. Okay, I wanna allow PiView. Okay. Okay, we've got the X there, and oh, it's working. We have the Raspberry Pi wallpaper, and we're at the desktop, so I can close out this. Yes. Okay, so we are logged on to the Raspberry Pi here, in a higher quality video mode here. So so let's see what we have here. No, hold on. I think I'll just log out and oh no. Never mind. So anyways, we are here at the Raspberry Pi desktop. Can I click the icons? LX session logout. Okay, I want to cancel. Okay, so again we are logged on to Raspberry Pi, and now we have 4 virtual desktops instead of 2 like on the Pi itself. So yeah, we have access to the Raspberry Pi. Now we can see more of the software. Let's start. Accessories, you have Debian reference, file manager, calculator, calculator with a G at the start there. Image viewer, I believe, oh yeah, LeafPad is the text editor. LX terminal, root terminal as and then an archive manager. We have Scratch and Squeak in the education menu. For graphics, we just have a XPDF, which is like a lightweight PDF viewer. I never heard of it. We have Deload, Midori, and NetSurf preloaded, and then there's the Wi-Fi config there. other, we have the Pi store, programming. We have Python IDLE and IDLE 3 for Python, and we have Scratch and Squeak, and we have a task manager. And let's go to the Pi store and see what there is. Okay, I can see the lights blinking on the Raspberry Pi itself. The window border is actually very small for some reason. But it does say Pi store. Okay, we are in. I want to see what apps are available in the spotlight section. Oh, cool. It's just like any other app store. Oops. Oh, Raspberry Pi web server. And so again, this is software for the Raspberry Pi, and okay, there's actually a version of DOSBox there. But I'm gonna actually install the original DOSBox if I can. Oh, cool. Pi 3D programming Python just got exciting and rewarding, free. Let's go to Midori and try and load up my YouTube channel. I don't think Flash Play is installed. Oh, okay. This, and I don't know if this is a bug with Xming, but the window border here is actually very small. It uses DuckDuckGo as its default search engine, which I really like. I keep forgetting to set it as my default search engine in Chrome. Their search engine pages actually do look nicer than Google's, but I still like Google search because it's like the most popular search engine. I mean, youtube.com slash kbashikevin2. So I'm loading my channel, and I'll maximize this here. So it takes a while for it to update again because it's a remote session, and oops. So it's pretty cool that the Raspberry Pi is working, and I can enable SSH so I can run a remote X session here. And I have not signed in, but here's my YouTube channel. Yes. And I know, and I do understand my YouTube channel is not like fully done up yet. I do understand. And that's my popular videos. So yeah. So that's my unboxing and first impressions of the Raspberry Pi. So anyways, I'll just log off here before I end the session here. Oh wait, no. Okay, I have to wait. It takes a while for the shutdown screen to appear, but I'll log off here. But I don't think it's supported in Xming, so I'll just cut the connection there. So anyways, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.